Okay, so this is something that I really notice, and I have been noticing this for quite a few years now. I don't really know when it got bad. Maybe like 8 years ago. So, you know what? It might even be 2020 when things change, and a lot of people say people have become very strange since 2020, and maybe that's actually the case. But I do also think, I mean, maybe that's really the case, but there are other factors for sure. So, what I really notice is it is extremely hard to connect to people nowadays. And I have some, what I think are very good reasons for this. Let me know if you feel this is happening with you too, though. I just think, like, back in the day, especially before social media became so big, I feel like it was really easy to form connections with people. I feel that people were not so judgmental. And I also think people were capable of being so much more vulnerable and just open, and therefore could form a connection. Because in order for a connection to form, it's going to take two parties to be open to the connection. And so, what I'm really noticing nowadays is I feel like there are two sets of people. There are people that are wanting to form a connection that are more a little bit kind of like vulnerable types. I don't really like using that word when I'm describing this because I don't see it at all as vulnerability. I just see it as authenticity, to be honest. So I guess let's use that word. They're more authentic. And then there are people that have a mask on and they have a wall up and they're very concerned with image. And so what I think is going on and why people are not connecting like they used to, and why there is such a loneliness epidemic happening, is I think people have been like essentially hypnotized by social media for to like meaning to curate this perfect image of themselves not only on social media, but it has become like even with who they are in real life. And maybe for these people, they have a lot of worry about their image on social media. So I guess it's just come into their real life as well. It's just made them more anxious and aware maybe that they're being judged. They're more like perfectionist types, I guess, a lot of people. And a lot of people care about their image, a lot. But sadly, more and more people are caring, I think, every year, unless we're starting to go the opposite way, because maybe some people are actually just getting tired and don't give a shit anymore. I have no idea. But I think that's what's kind of happened is it's like social media has made people become hyper aware of themselves and maybe the judgments of others. Oh, you know what it might be too is people go online and a lot of people judge other people. And you know what the saying goes is if you judge a lot of people, that means you're really judgmental on yourself. So maybe that's what's happening is they're judging and then that they're taking that criticism towards themselves. So now they're putting up a barrier of wanting that perfect image. And in a lot of these, like if a person thinks like that, how could they think being a vulnerable, authentic, real person that doesn't go along with a perfect image, right? Because then you might see a flaw or a crack. Or, you know what I mean? Like you can't. Yes, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But so what I really notice when you hang out with people, like for me, I really like to be alone because when I hang out with people, I actually feel more alone than when I'm alone. And I know that's really crazy. And it's not that I don't enjoy hanging out with some people. It's just what I do really notice is there's never like a real connection, like a deep connection ever anymore. I mean, I guess not ever. It's definitely rarer than it's ever been. And so like you can't broach certain subjects, you have to, everything has to stay very pleasant, very surface level. If you, like what I notice, because I'm more real, I guess, I just kind of like maybe I give too much info, but I don't even think it's giving too much info. It's just talking like naturally and not worrying about being perfect or being judged. But like if you, I don't know what subject to even use it as an example. Maybe like you're talking about your pet, something about your pet, or even about moving and like it was stressful or something. Say you didn't like something about moving or just anything. If you give too much detail on any subject, you can tell it makes people uncomfortable because it's almost like they're like, oh, like I didn't need to know that, or like, oh, okay, because it's like everything has to stay so surface level, and the second it gets like that little bit deeper, I think they get uncomfortable because they don't talk on that level. So it's like they just want to bring it back up here. Like it's like they'll wash over. There's always like a roundup sentence to like change the subject. And so when you're hanging out with people, everything has to be pleasant. You can't talk about anything, even if it's like freaking in your face, like blatantly in your face. Like you can't talk about like political issues going on in the country. You can't, like how you guys, I don't even bring this stuff up, but like imagine if you did want to talk about what's actually really happening. Like if you guys watch some of my other videos, like with the technocracy coming in, they're going to be doing a one world currency. They're going to be putting everybody on a digital universal basic income. Dude, why aren't we talking about these things? These things are pretty insane. They're bringing in like so many laws and taxes and taking away our rights and taking away our land. Now in Canada, oh my God, there are things we should be talking about, but I'm not even talking about those subjects. Okay, I get it. That's like, you know, people, if they can't even talk in depth about like anything, we ain't going there. Like that's like for a very, very fringe minority of people that are capable of talking about that. But like, I mean, anything almost. I really notice you have to just keep it super simple, super shallow, and always super positive. If you like, say for instance, I was to be like, my cat, like I'm just making stuff up. My cat's stomach is so bad and like it's been so hard, like, you know, all the time, like everything she eats, like I feel like I always have to be home, you know, she's having like upset stomach all the time and like I'm always having to clean stuff up. This isn't my cat, by the way, I'm just saying this. Like people just like check out. Say you're having a hard time with like your family member or something, like one of you guys is fighting or something's going on. Like, do you think people want to talk about that? People don't want to talk about anything real. And, you know, when people are like, how are you? Like, oh my God, could you imagine if like 2 days ago you were at your absolute worst, like contemplating, what do people say is the safe word on here? To unalive yourself. That's the word, unalive. Right? Like, I'm just saying, like, imagine you were just like doing horrible the other day. But when you see somebody, what do you got to say? You have to be like, oh, I'm doing great. How are you? It's like, it is so fucking fake. Because if you ever weren't like that, people would just stare at you like the zombie stare. Of like, oh my God, this is socially awkward. You're being awkward. You're supposed to just say, it's like a pre-programmed computer of like all the way you should handle every interaction. And it's like, if you're not following that program code, like exactly, as soon as you like step off the course of the program code, it's like, they get so uncomfortable. They're just like, oh yeah, Yeah, oh. And then like subject change. Because people can't handle any sort of realness nowadays. And I would also say, like, in my opinion, one of the only ways you can have real connections is if it's with people that you've known for a really long time, most likely your childhood. Because, like, I can never seem to replicate those friendships with people I've met in my adult life. It's just like you cannot get to that level of the people that you grew up with. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's just I have no idea. Like, I sometimes I think about it and I'll see like two women walking or something and they're talking. And I'm always thinking, like, I wonder what they talk about. Like, I wonder if they are allowed to be real with each other. Like, say that woman's having a really hard time in her relationship. Is she able to talk to that friend and have that friend be there for her? Because to me, that is like, oh, no, no, no. That, like, you do not talk about your relationship to people. Like, you're fucking weird if you do that. Like, you should be so perfect all the time. Otherwise, like, you don't interact. Don't interact. That's how I feel like it is. I really do. So, and not everyone is like that. I think that women are actually, well, it depends. Women can be worse than men. I would say this is actually a different topic, kind of, but one thing I'm so jealous of men for is the more just like rawness, like the laid backness. So when you see two women, there's some comedian that does a skit on this that I saw. But when you see two women that meet, it's like, oh my god! And it's, I know it's not always, but like, say they haven't seen each other in a while, or say it's like in public and they saw each other. It's like, oh my god, hi! Oh my god, it's been so long. How are you? Like, it's so like animated and performed, I guess. But when you see two guys, they're just like, hey, what's up? Like, hey, how have you been? I don't know. They just stand there and it's so chill. I also noticed that women, yeah, this is kind of going into a different topic, but it's like, I think women, not all women, but certain women expect other women to perform more so. And if you're not like uppity and like da, 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 like very, I don't know, you have to have like this certain energy to you. And if you don't have that energy, it's almost like, oh, what's wrong with her? Whereas men get to be at that chill, real level. And it's totally okay. And they're all like that. But if a woman's like that, it's like, is she okay? Like, what's wrong with her? But I feel like there is a lot more pressure put on women to be a certain way in public. But yeah, I guess what I just really wanted to say in this video is I really think that social media is screwing people up and screwing up connections in real life, because people are too concerned with image nowadays that they will not allow themselves to be vulnerable at all. And also what I wanted to say was, oh yes, okay, so there's this show that my partner is watching on Netflix, and I don't know the name of it. It might be like, it's something about, anyway, you got to find out who the millionaire is. So it's like this reality game show. They all stay in like this mansion kind of house, and one of them has the $1 million, and they kind of have to, they're all playing strategically, not showing any vulnerability, because they don't want each player to find out too much information about them, because then it would make them vulnerable and then they might not win the game, right? So they're playing with strategy. And watching that made me think that's what's happening in real life. It's like life and connections, human interaction has almost become this game of people trying to win. And I think social media has made people's brains think this way, it's actually amplifying the ego so much, because a lot of people are falling for this trap of trying to be better than somebody else. So they don't want to expose any vulnerability of themselves, because they're seeing life as a game to be played where you have to like win, you have to one up, you have to be better, you have to be more perfect, you have to be more accomplished, you have to be more fit, you have to be more rich, you have to be like better dressed, you gotta be like, do you know what I mean? It's like perfect, 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 perfect. And I think because of that, people are, it's like they lost what life is really about and what connection is really about. And it's become, yeah, it's just become so much about image nowadays. And you can see that with how people live through social media now, like how perfect people's homes are. Like, it's like walking into a hotel lobby or like a show home. Like, everything is so perfect. And people are so obsessed with perfection and trends that they're literally like redecorating their houses every year to make sure it's like up on the trends. Like, so you can see what is happening, you know, and you can't just think that that's staying with objects. That's happening on the inside as well, where people are like, I gotta look perfect. I gotta seem perfect. I gotta seem like I have it all together at all times. I can't let anyone know I was sad last week. I can't let anyone know I'm going broke. I can't let anyone know that, like, anything. You know what I mean? Like, I have anxiety, or I have worries, or I have stress, or I'm not managing well, or I don't know, just anything. It's like you got to curate the perfect package and you need to present that. And if you're too worried about being perfect, you're just never going to form a connection, because you got your wall up. And I really think that's what's going on in society nowadays. I just think it's really hard to get people to be authentic, to open up, to let their guards down. And I think too, because of that type of conditioning, when they do see somebody being a bit more authentic, having their guard down, being a bit more vulnerable, they don't know what to think of it. It's just a little bit, it's uncomfortable, because they're doing that thing. They're over there being a certain way all the time. So if someone else is a little bit one way, it's just, yeah, I don't know. And I just think people can't form connections anymore. I think that's what's going on. Because when I was younger, I feel like people just talked about whatever. And I don't know, it just seemed easier. Let me know what you think. Am I crazy, or is this what's going on? I'm pretty sure I'm right, because there is a loneliness epidemic going on like never before. And also, when you think about it, there are so many YouTubers now just doing talking videos on various topics like this video. And there are so many people tuning in. And I think it's because they want to talk about these things, but people in real life don't really do it. And so it's like they feel that they can't connect in real life. So they're going to the internet to watch people that they feel they connect with. I think that's what's going on. It's just kind of sad, because it's like, I don't know, like I look back to when I was young and I'm like, man, like friendships were so great. It was so easy. It was so natural. And sometimes you meet a person like that and it's just the best. It's the best feeling, because you're just like, wow, like I love hanging out with this person. It's so easy. Like you can just, I don't know, you can talk about anything and it's just really chill. And yeah, but it's becoming very few and far between. Okay, I will see you in my next video. Bye. Oh, I want to put up this quote for you. Bye.